Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Now that we've made it through the NFC, we move on to the best conference in the NFL, the American Football Conference.
We're dropping our predictions for each division in the AFC and telling you exactly why it's going to happen. I'm Brendan, anxious football fan.
And I'm Corey, tighten up. And this is our view from the bench.
Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Come on, smash it. Smash it for us. It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Heck yeah.
All right, Corey. We've made it through
Woo.
the NFC. Yes. Now it's time for your conference, the AFC. This is obviously the best conference in football. It's got more better. Wow. More top-rated quarterbacks. It's got the teams that are going far. Basically, it's just the Niners. That's the only person that anybody really believes in the NFC, to be honest with you, right? I mean, other than that, everybody else in the AFC is favorites to win it. So it's good. It's a good conference to be in, or not a good conference to be in, depending on if you're trying to win.
Yeah, I'll say if you're trying to win, this is the hardest conference because it's kind of like the Western Conference in the NBA. It is a brutal battle to get through this.
Yeah, it's tough because there's just so many good teams. So even if you're not competing with your division, because maybe your division person is so good, like let's say the Chargers, right? Because the Chiefs are so good. Yeah, but the rest, it's gonna be hard for you to get even a wild card spot in the AFC. You got to be up there.
Dude.
So
yeah,
it's more difficult for sure. But we're gonna start in, I guess, what some or many would consider the best division in football last year based on where they finished, and that is the AFC North, because every single team finished with a record above 500. Now, granted, it's one of the first few seasons where an odd number of games is, so it's one of the first few where it's more possible, but either way, it is the first time that everybody has finished above 500 with was it Steelers finishing at 9-8 or the Bengals finishing, or were they tied? Either way, they finished 9-8.
Yeah, it might have been Bengals 9-8 because they didn't make the playoffs that the Steelers did.
Yeah. Okay. So we're starting there. Obviously the Ravens killed it. They killed everybody in football. They killed the division. They killed the conference until obviously they met. What's that guy's name? Patrick something. I don't know. I heard he's really good at football. So
yeah, he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah, when they had to play that guy, I guess they lost or something like that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But either way, they think they're coming back, but I don't. Joe motherfucking Burrow is back and healthy. And he was quiet a lot last year. The team was pretty quiet, even though, they actually did some winning. They finished above 500 without him playing, I would say, over half the year. The team is very talented, and with a healthy Joe, I think they squeak out a division crown. Now, the Ravens are really good still, so it's not like it's going to be a runaway, right? Baltimore, it's just hard to repeat, especially in such a tough division, right? They had an MVP year last year from Lamar. That's not easy to match. They've lost key players on both sides of the ball, but mostly defense, and coordinators on both sides of the ball. So it's not going to be managed very well immediately either. Now, granted, long-term it may, pan out, right? But the beginning might be a little bit more tumultuous. So the other two teams I do have question marks about, Steelers, Browns. I think they fight it out for third and fourth, respectively. I'm going Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, just because this quarterback thing in Pittsburgh, I don't know which one they're going to run with, and maybe they do both, and then who knows? So, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers. My friend.
All right.
How you got?
All right. So last year when we did our preseason predictions, I picked the Ravens to win the division and Lamar Jackson to win the MVP, and I got both of those last year. Both of those things are not going to happen this year. I'm with you. It is not going to happen again. He had last year was his contract year. He got it situated. He was feeling good. They were feeling good. Now, I'm with you. I think the Joe Burrow coming back is a complete game changer for this Bengals team. There's a vibe already in preseason, the whole haircutting thing.
Slim Shady,
I don't know.
He looks legit.
Yeah. There's just something brewing in Cincinnati. So I think they're going to come out and win 12 games or so, win the division. I'm with you. It's not going to be a big gap between them and Baltimore. It might be 12 wins to 11 wins to win the division. I think you mentioned a lot of good points. New defensive coordinator for Baltimore. I also think with Derrick Henry there, I love that option for them on offense, but I also wonder, is that going to do anything come playoff time? Because I want King Henry to win a ring. Unfortunately, it's not going to be with the Titans, but I just don't know if they're going to have enough when it comes, because Derrick Henry at this point too, he's older. He's, over 30. Like, he could get beat up and not make it to the playoffs this year for them. Right. He hasn't been the most durable the last couple of years in Tennessee, as much as I enjoyed him being there. So I see them getting second. And then I actually have the Browns and Steelers flopping as far as third and fourth compared to you, only because I think the the Steelers, I know I'm with you. There's no quarterback situation. Russ or Fields, I don't know. It doesn't matter. They won 9 games last year with Mason Rudolph
True.
being in there at some point. So
True.
I think Tomlin
And
with Russ
Kenny
and
Pickett.
yeah, exactly.
Pickett
They
the
went,
Pickens.
dude. They I don't even know how they won 9 games. That's the question. But now with
Very true.
two,
Good point.
one much more experienced than the other, but I think better quarterbacks overall than the previous gets them to maybe 10 wins. So they get that third place. And then I don't know, Deshaun Watson, does he play the whole year? If he doesn't, then they got Jameis Winston. He's not very good. He turns the ball over more than he throws touchdowns. And then you have DTR. Is he even still there by the time the season comes? Because we talked about how they have 4 quarterbacks. Because I think they have Tyron Huntley on there as well, who was the backup in Baltimore last year.
Yep.
So a lot of things going on in Cleveland. I just think it's all going to fall apart, and like it does usually there, and they're going to end up in last. So Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns.
I can see that flip flop at the back too.
I mean, you said
those
you
two are
debated
fighting
back
for
and
it.
forth, so
yeah, those two are fighting back and forth. I could definitely see the Steelers taking it too. To me, this is like a tiebreaker, one game kind of thing. I just think the top 2 teams are so good. It's not pointless to talk about the other 2, but almost meaningless because I think the gap between Bengals Ravens is going to be a couple games from Steelers Browns. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yep. Completely agree.
Okay, well, let's move on then to the AFC South. This is where you reside, my friend. I know you mentioned a stat at the beginning of the NFC episode, I believe it was. You want to repeat that for our AFC audience?
Yeah, so of the last 21 NFL seasons, 19 of those years, a team that finished last the previous year in their division was able to win the division. So just keep that in mind.
Just keep that in mind,
quite a bit, not just once or twice. 19 out of 21. That's pretty high percentage.
That's pretty much damn near every year. So
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like 2 years is not that much to kind of go on. So then tell me then, does that impact here a little bit at least? How do you have your division, the AFC South, shaking out?
As much as I would like it to impact my team and go from fourth to first, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Texans are back. I think it's their division to lose, really, unless they completely fall apart. CJ Stroud's only going to get better. Tank Dell is only going to get better. They brought in Mixon, I believe, from Cincinnati at the running back position. So there's a lot of weapons there. I think they get better. The defense gets better. D'Amico Ryans has the same guys. He has his system. They all get better at the continuity of it. I think last year coming way ahead of schedule, not only just making the playoffs, but winning the division and winning a playoff game. They're way above and beyond, I think, the rest of the teams in the division. The Jags are just whatever. The Colts are whatever.
Facts.
Even the Titans aren't that great. So I think it's really the Texans' division to run away with. However, I do see the Titans jumping from fourth to second with Will Levis.
Okay.
I think
not quite fourth to first like your stat, but
no, but and I don't even know if they're necessarily going to get a wild card spot. I just think they'll get second place within the division. Maybe 8, maybe 9 wins gets that. Maybe even 8. I don't know, but I think with Will Levis now, you got DeAndre Hopkins. They brought in Calvin Ridley. They have Spires at running back from last year. They brought in Pollard, so they're giving him plenty of weapons. We made the trade with the Rams we mentioned earlier in the last episode for the linebackers. So there's a lot of things going on there. I think Callahan's going to have us with a nice change of pace within the organization as far as being the new head coach, and it's his first stop as a head coach. Having his dad, who's a former head coach on the staff, helps a little bit too, give you a little bit of an idea of how things go. And from what I've heard during preseason, again, the final score, wins and losses doesn't matter, but the team seems to be feeling good about what they're doing and where they're going. So that makes me feel a little bit better that nobody's lost or they're looking terrible. Like, look like they got a good plan and they look like they're going about it the right way. So Titans make a climb. I know you never heard the slogan or the saying about just a player or just a guy, like Jag. We call him a Jag in sports.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have. Yeah,
that's what I'm considering the Jags and the Colts. They're just a guy. They got Trevor Lawrence. He's just a guy. Anthony Richardson, don't know what he's going to do quarterback. So they're both just guys at the end of the division. So I think it's Texans, Titans, Jags, Colts.
Okay, I like that. I like that for you. Go Titans, I guess, right?
Just tighten up.
So this is where I'm not as high in your team. I do think actually you guys are very much improved. And where I put you in the division is not necessarily a sentiment of how I think your overall team is, right? It's just it's so new. That's the only thing I'll say. So I'll start with it. I'll start with it like this. Everybody knows I'm a huge if you don't, go watch a bunch of episodes because you'll know. I'm a huge CJ Stroud.
You talk about CJ Stroud, no way.
Yeah, I like CJ Stroud a little bit, right? Great quarterback, fan of Jesus. I'm on his team. In fact, I've been thinking about, honestly, it's so funny, bro. The other day I was just laying in bed. Like, I don't know why this randomly popped in my head. I was like, maybe I should just be a Texans fan again.
Hey, you were once before, so it wouldn't be
I
the
was.
weirdest thing.
They were just so bad. I was like, bro, like, I
I
got
know
it.
it
And
was
then as
hard.
soon
Like,
as I stopped being a fan, that's when they got Deshaun Watson, started making the playoffs. I'm like, son of a bitch, dude. So anyway, so I do think the Texans take this division again, but this is where I think it gets interesting from here. I think the Colts actually are going to be battling for that
wow.
top spot all year, and this is why I think they're deep. Look at what they did last year with Gardner Minshew after the Anthony Richardson injury, right?
Yeah.
They pushed the Texans to a Week 17 playoff, basically playoff game. Winner took the division and was going to then host the Browns. And I think that game came down to like one of the last plays of the game where
Yeah.
CJ Stroud was able to convert, I think, a touchdown or a field goal to finally win it. So the game was already close. This is what I mean by this. I think their run game with Jonathan Taylor is going to be back. He's been healthy because he hasn't been doing shit, right? Because they kind of
Back
sucked
in
last
full
year.
camp this year.
Yep, exactly. Full camp too. Their defense was already good. They have a lot of pep, but the main thing is a healthy Anthony Richardson, if he's good, and Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen, the head coach and offensive guru, is the thing that I think helps put the Colts above the Jags and the Titans. I don't think it puts them above because I don't know if Anthony Richardson is as talented as CJ Stroud, but Shane Steichen being there. Look at what happened to Jalen Hurts since Shane Steichen has left. He was an MVP
Good
candidate
point.
to. Is he good enough to lead this team in the playoffs? Like, the night and day version of Jalen Hurts because Steichen is gone is insane. And I'm going to just apply that logic to Anthony Richardson. Now, whether or not he has the talent to kind of pull it all out, that is to be seen. But because I think he might, I'm going to run with the Colts as second. I'm with you on just a guy. Jags third. I think they're extremely mediocre. And the only reason why I think the Titans aren't there is I don't think they're there yet. I think they have a lot of
Yep.
pieces. I just don't think they're there yet. I don't know what Will Levis has to offer. I know he has a big arm. It's accuracy and mental stuff I haven't seen yet. Not saying he doesn't have it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would
No,
like to
for sure.
see it play out. You know what I mean? But really, Stroud and company take the top spot. A lead offense, a blossoming defense, a coach of the year candidate in D'Amico Ryans. He's going to have this team ready to run through walls. Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans. But Colts and Titans, Jags and Titans, I think are going to be close. I think you will be fighting for third in my prediction.
Okay, I'm down with that. Hey, I also could be just rooting with my heart a little bit in that division. So
Maybe a tad. Maybe a tad.
Just a little bit.
All right, let's move on to the AFC East, or least, I guess you could say. Not necessarily by their talent. I just like calling the East Coast the least coast. That's just because we're West Coasters, so it is what it is. Let me kick this off here. I know I just was talking a little bit, but let me kick this off here. I was kind of like, to me, this is honestly a toss-up between the first three teams. Obviously, the Patriots are winning the division; they're that good. So no, I'm just kidding. Patriots are in last. Let's go ahead and throw them at the end. So we don't really care about that. This is obviously a toss-up between the Dolphins, Jets, and the Bills.
Initially when you first said it, I was just like, yeah, because like that's duh. Patriots win.
They always win. Oh, well, no, that's the other
back
Patriots.
up. That's not how this works anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. We don't know what the Jets could be with A-Rod or what he really has left in the tank, if anything. I'm running with that he's going to have a comeback of the year kind of scenario here, and we see Rodgers go from 4 snaps to the Jets winning their first division since 2002. The Jets, Jets. I will spell with you, Corey, just on a different team.
That's a lot easier to spell, man. Come on.
Yeah, true. ELGLSLS Eagles. Woo. No, JETS. Jets. I think they take their first division title since 2002. The high-flying Dolphins are going to tear through the regular season, but lose cold games and end up in second. Buffalo has Allen drag them to third place because I don't know. I don't know what Josh Allen is in this scenario with not really any weapons. Nobody knows who the receivers are. Maybe he's just going to run. They looked good with him being average, but then the team didn't. It's just too much. And then obviously the Patriots are trying, I think maybe possibly, I don't know anymore. Your turn.
All right, that's a good way to wrap it up there. Actually,
so to recap real quick: Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have a little bit of a jumble here at the top with you. I think the Dolphins are going to win the division this year. They were literally just a tiebreaker away last year from getting it over Buffalo and not having to go to the frozen tundra of Kansas City for that first round. But is what it is. I think they bounce back. I think Tua's paid. He's ready to go. Mozart and Waddle and just all the offensive weapons that they have, they come back and they take care of business. The defense is going to have to be good and step up again. But I don't really think the rest of the division is that great. I think the Jets are going to get in second. I think Rodgers has a bounce back year. I'm with you. I just think the Dolphins, continuity wise, are a little bit better and get that division title. The Jets, I think, will win the wild card, and then I honestly would expect them to go further in the playoffs than the Dolphins once they get in there. That's just
that's a good point.
Get in the playoffs, but I think they'll go past them at that point. And then I'm with you. I think the Bills third. I think Allen's just whatever without Stephon Diggs, and they lost. I can't remember the other wide receiver that left and went to Jacksonville off the top of my head. Thank you. So there's like not a lot of weapons there. I feel, and you mentioned earlier without Dable there, he hasn't been the same. I think the decline continues. Now he might have to run a lot more and he'll be able to win games that way, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get them in a wild card chase or anything like that. And then, yeah, with you there, the Patriots play football 17 times this year.
Sometimes they try, yeah.
I think their coach is a rookie coach is Gerard Mayo, so could be a rookie quarterback. I don't know if they've announced who the quarterback is, if it's Brissett or the kid. So there's a lot going on that. Now, if it's Brissett, they'll be in most games. They might not win a lot of them, but he'll keep them in them. And then if they eventually decide, okay, we've lost enough, just give it to the kid, then they're just going to lose a bunch of games, get a top pick, and build for the future next year with Gerard Mayo, again, as a rookie coach and building for the future that way. But it's kind of sad in New England now if you're a Patriots fan, but they've won enough. Like, they don't need any more. My God.
Yeah, true. No, very true. So quick question before we move on to the next division. If you're the Patriots, do you eat shit to try to get Carson Beck? Do you blow a first-round draft pick? Carson Beck, Georgia QB, arguably one of the most talented quarterbacks out of Georgia in some time, and plays in the SEC. Plays on one of the best. He's pretty much already the consensus number one pick.
I mean,
or do you try to just run it out with Drake May instead of
what you did to Mac Jones? I think if you're going to start with Brissett, you're going to try to compete initially. Then eventually, after 6 or 8 weeks, you'll realize we ain't got shit. We're done. You'll put in the kid. If Drake is not any good the last half of the year, and you're that bad, and you have to sit at the bottom again, and there's somebody who you think is, Caleb Williams, going to turn the world around in your locker room, you got to at least think about it. I mean, remember was it the Cardinals, right? They took Rosen and then traded him like 2 years later. So it has been done.
The very next year.
Was it the next year? Okay.
Yes,
wow. I thought they could at least 2 years out of it.
Moved off.
Okay. Well, if the Cardinals are smart enough to do something like that, then the Patriots are definitely smart enough to do something like that if that becomes the case. But I don't know. It also depends on what Carson Beck, is that his name you said, does in Georgia, because the last quarterback that came from Georgia that won multiple titles, Stetson Bennett, threw 5 interceptions in the preseason games. So Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the caveat to that is Carson Beck has an NFL build. Stetson Bennett looks like me and you.
Yeah, no, he totally does. You're completely right. Like literally, he looks like you sometimes.
But literally to your point though about he hasn't been quite successful. He's playing with the Rams. Hopefully, he can learn a lot from Stafford and McVay. But yeah, I won't deny that. So, but there's a lot of hype around him, I guess, is what I'm saying. That's all.
I mean, I guess if it's there, it's there. I mean, otherwise, tell Carolina they might need another quarterback because they're going to be at the bottom 2 again. So,
yeah. So last bit before we move on to the last division, more towards my Jets thing. The reason why I'm putting the Jets up top, and I agree with everything you said about the Dolphins, their continuity alone should put them up. The Jets were good last year with Zach Wilson and HBO Hard Knocks preseason camp. They were putting on a show. All the young kids were like, Aaron Rodgers is in the building. Aaron Rodgers in New York for the first time. There's no cameras at the camp this year. It's just business.
That's true. Less expectation. Yeah, that's true. That's a
little bit less expectation. Oh, what's because last year they were going to win the Super Bowl, right? Everyone's like, they have a good defense and they got Aaron Rodgers. They're going to win the Super Bowl. And you're just like, well, let's slow down. They've shored up their offensive line. They're huge. Their defense is still just as good and young. And Aaron Rodgers is healthy so far. So that's the only other caveat, but I'm with you. I think it's going to be between the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, totally with you there.
All right, let's round this out with the AFC West. This isn't necessarily the best division in the AFC, but I just like saying West best. So AFC West, Corey, break it down for me. I know you've got the Raiders taking this one. How do you have them folding after that?
No, I went fourth to first with the Broncos. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
So obviously this is the division for the Chiefs to lose. I think they've won it 8 years in a row, and the first of those 8 was not with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. So don't think that's going to be a
Correct.
problem this year. This team is very hungry and determined. I think they're focused, and even though it's way down the line, but they know they can get that third in a row. I think that's going to be their ultimate reason for everything and focus. So I expect this team to be very detail oriented from the jump and get off to a 6-8-0 start and really put a lot of scare into some people. And then I think the Chargers actually jump up to second this year. I think with Harbaugh there, I think Herbert, even though he's lost all his wide receivers, the quarterback can still throw the ball to a guy who can put it in his hands. Hopefully they have some guys that can catch the ball.
Yep.
But I just think with Harbaugh, it's his whole mentality. It's his whole culture, as they say, everywhere he goes, he wins instantly or improves them from the year prior for the first couple of years he's there. So I think that's going to be the case. And because of that part, exactly. And also because I think the Broncos, who I have been going third, very young with Bo Nix, Sean Payton, I think has found his guy, but I still don't think they're going to win enough to win, get in a wild card or playoffs or anything like that, but they will improve from last year. So they get into third, maybe win 7 or 8 games. And then I know there's a lot of hype around the Raiders, and they have Devontae Adams, and they drafted the tight end, I can't think of, Bowers from Georgia, and they got all these weapons, but they have Gardner Minshew. Now, again, he was great last year in Indianapolis. I know everywhere he goes, he wins. And I'm not saying they're going to win 3 games with Gardner Minshew, but I don't think they're going to win enough to get in the division hunt. I told you I thought Broncos could win 8. I think the Raiders could win 6. So they're right there. They're going to be at the back end of the division. I feel bad for Antonio Pierce because as a rookie coach, I want him to do good, but I just don't think it's. I don't think. I mean, everyone all summer, Aiden McConnell, he's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. He's had such a great summer, and then they come to camp and they start Gardner Minshew. So that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I'm curious how long that lasts. When do we give us Aiden? Wait for that at the Dome.
So yeah, I have it with Chiefs for the 9th year in a row at the top, and Chargers maybe shocking some people, Broncos, and then Raiders at the bottom.
Unintended.
Actually, I didn't, but that's good.
All right. Honestly, there really is no other order than this one, as long as injuries aren't involved to key players. Harbaugh wins, to your point. It's just what he does. But this division has Reed and Mahomes, and it won't be easy, and it's not going to be that fast. Chiefs cruise to a 9th straight division title. Like you were talking about, they've had 8 in a row. This is their 9th now. And they finally get home field back for the playoffs for at least one game, right? Not a luxury that they had last year, even though they won their back-to-back Super Bowl, going for 3rd now. Chargers do take 2nd. I'm with you. Back a few games. I don't think it's like a close 2nd, like 1 or 2. I think it might be like a 3-4 even, depending on how good the Chiefs are this year. And while I think Knicks is going to be decent, he needs to get a lot more going before we start trusting or singing any praises from Denver quarterbacks, right? I mean, everyone was talking about how Russell Wilson was going to go change the game, and they got rid of him and paid him $80 million to leave. So,
that's insane.
Yeah, this really. Let's just pump the brakes before I'm not saying he won't be good. He was great at Oregon, but let's just see what it looks like in the NFL. I know there's a lot of high praise, and Sean Payton's a great coach. So hopefully he can develop. But yeah, and then the Raiders. Oh, the Raiders. Oh, the Raiders. I'm sorry, Andrew. My friend Andrew's a Raiders fan, but this ain't it, man. It's just not it. There's no real quarterback. No offense to Minshew Magic, but the rest of the team is pretty much just average. Easy decision, easy order. Lock it in. Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. No fight there for you, Corey.
It's hard to argue though. So the division is just pretty much done.
yeah. Especially when you're not really fighting for first. It's really just fighting for second and fourth.
Yeah,
unless something absolutely catastrophic happens in Kansas City, there's nothing.
Yeah,
it is what it
is. Like if the whole state of Missouri just disappears, then we'll have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That's pretty much it. Yeah, and who knows if as long as the Chiefs may be on a road trip at that time, it'd still be fine.
Also, a good point. They just have to win on the road in the playoffs. I guess they did last year. Who cares?
It is what it is, right? So, but yeah. So that wraps up the AFC. I think that was pretty good. I like this one. We got some surprises out there. Not we can't get too surprising. There's good teams. That is what it is, right? But we're trying to switch it up a little bit, get some surprises out here. Let us know down in the comments who you got taking each of the AFC divisions and why. We'd really love to get your thoughts on it. Tell us where we were right. Tell us where we were wrong. Just tell us something. Yeah, we want to hear from you. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you as always for seeing these from our view from the bench. I'm Braden.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.